evening. I'm Dr. Pamela Phoenix, and welcome to the Let's Talk Shreveport show. This show is hosted by To Our Destiny Community Development Corporation. LTS is a virtual town hall platform for the northern region of Louisiana that gives community the ability to have a voice, obtain information, and share information with local, state, and federal government. It's a cohesive bond that we're trying to create to begin the partnership between neighborhoods and government. I'd like to introduce to you all this evening and thank for the opportunity to welcome Miss Angela Henderson, who is Assistant Executive Director of Domestic and Sexual Violence with Project Celebration Incorporated. Miss Angela, can you please introduce yourself to the viewers?
Sure, I think you did a fine job. But again, I'm Angela Henderson. I'm the Assistant Director, Executive Director for Project Celebration, and we are a domestic violence and sexual assault organization in Northwest Louisiana.
All righty. Thank you so much for that introduction. And just to give everyone an awareness, Let's Talk Shreveport is a show that works as a collaborative effort designed to bring together every community within the North Louisiana region for the purpose of educating, providing information, interpreting, and spreading awareness of actions that affect our region. We encourage individuals, organizations, and agencies that are interested in partnering with Let's Talk Shreveport and its objectives to please send us an email at admin@todcdc.org, or you can inbox us on the To Our Destiny CDC Facebook page. We truly need the community support for the success of the CDC. Now, a summary of the discussion will reveal a deeply moving subject that we will be discussing
Mhm.
today, and that is understanding domestic violence. I don't want to hurt
Mhm.
anymore. We'll explore
Mhm.
the devastating effects of domestic abuse on individuals, families, and communities under the poignant theme, I don't want to hurt anymore. Our discussion will shed light on the emotional, physical, and psychological toll of domestic violence, while also addressing the resources, support systems, and legal protections available to victims. We'll be joined by Miss Angela, who will share her insight on breaking the cycle of abuse and finding a path to safety and empowerment. So we thank you
Mhm.
all, our virtual audience, for tuning in to be a part of this critical conversation as we strive to
Mhm.
raise awareness and offer hope to those who are silently suffering. Your voice
Yeah,
matters, and together we can say, I don't want to hurt anymore. So, Miss Angela,
absolutely.
let's kick it off with trying to understand a definition of domestic violence and explaining the different forms that it can take.
Yes. Okay, so domestic violence is a pattern of coercive behaviors by one partner in order to gain control and maintain control, power and control over another partner in intimate partner relationship. And the different forms are like, of course, it's physical. Everybody knows the physical, but it's psychological and emotional, playing mind games with you. It's financial, where they have control of the money. It's spiritual abuse, where they use a religion to control you, whatever your denomination is. Also, a newest one is reproductive health. So sometimes the abuser uses your reproductive journey against you, kind of forces you to terminate a pregnancy, or they had your birth control because they, literally want to keep you barefoot and pregnant, or they withhold affection for you because you won't adhere to their reproductive needs, his or her reproductive needs. And also, sexual abuse is also one of them, and digital abuse, using pictures or videos of you and sharing them with other people without your consent. So,
Okay, so that definitely sounds like an attribute of basically being isolated. And what about explaining the different forms it can take? You said psychologically, emotionally.
Uh-huh, and emotional, just playing mind games with you. And a lot of people have heard of the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and for the duration of this segment, I will use that the men, I'll use the word male as a perpetrator because I mean the percentage of male victims is low. We'll talk about that later on, but most of the victims are women. So for the remainder of this segment, I'll use male as a victim, okay, or as a perpetrator.
Okay.
So like in psychological and emotional abuse, you'll have that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, where, they're sweet one minute and explosive, abusive the next minute. And those who are in these abusive relationships and unhealthy relationships, they usually know their partner's steps by the way they close the door, by the way they enter the home. They kind of know what's going on, whether it's going to be that cute explosion phase or whether they're in the honeymoon phase, trying to schmooze you to get what they want. The spiritual abuse, like I stated a little earlier, using whatever denomination. I'll just, for this segment, I'll use God's word. So using the Bible and the words in the Bible to abuse you. And when we see this happen, we see a lot of survivors turn from their religious preference and sometimes just turn against religion altogether. The finances, where they're controlling your monies, maybe issuing you very little, like an allowance, and you could be the one that's working, but that partner has control of all of the monies in the home. And sexual abuse is like exposing you to rigid sexual encounters that you're not used to. So, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. And of course, the digital one, like I spoke of earlier, it's where they're using pictures or videos of you and sharing them with other people against your will, without your consent. And sometimes they call it revenge porn when they use pictures or videos of you to share with other people, all to degrade you. That's part of the control tactic.
So degrading pictures of me is a form of domestic abuse.
If that
That's
person who you're breaking up with is sharing
yes,
those,
yes.
that's, yeah, mhm,
Lord,
it's digital abuse.
I
Hmm.
never. When did this term digital abuse come into effect?
I think it's always been there because I mean, you put cyber stalking in there with that, and you know how sometimes they use the phones and what have you to track your locations to harm you.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's been there. I think a lot of people don't use it, but also digital abuse is also used in sexual assault. That terminology.
Okay, I got you. So, can you advise us, Miss Angela, how can friends and family recognize the signs of domestic violence in a loved one? Because I know one of the main goals of the person that's being abused is to be able to be seen not being abused.
Right. I think they should watch for isolation because the people who are abusive will sometimes isolate that partner from their support system. May take you across the world, may take you, from Texas to Florida where you have no support system. It's just you and him or her. Okay. Also look for those signs where it's a dead of heat in the summer and someone's wearing long sleeves, button all the way down, all the way up to their neck. They usually are hiding bruises. So, withdrawing from family events. I mean, it's so many things. It's just really when you withdraw from family events because you'll know something's different or they're making excuses that don't make sense and don't line up with what they're saying. So it's subtle
Mhm.
things sometimes people don't think about because, remember, these people are very manipulative and they tell them not to say anything. Or even if they don't, they put a fear in them where they won't speak up because they don't want their loved ones to get hurt if they try to come and help.
So, why would someone stay in an abusive relationship, and what type of challenges do they face in trying to leave?
Well, a lot of people stay because they love that person. I mean, you don't fall out of love because someone hurts you. You still love that person and hold on to the good times. You try to remember the good times, because usually a person can kind of hide who they really are for a year. They also are fearful. Some are really fearful to leave because they may have told them that they'll kill them if they leave, or
Mm,
kill the children, or kill the pets. And Sometimes they stay because of finances. They don't have the means of making it on their own, especially if that person is the main breadwinner and you have no income coming in. So it's different factors like that why they stay. It could be religious preferences, you know. Well, the person our God does not. This is an example. Our God does not honor divorce. So I've heard that, and so they stay in
Mhm.
those relationships. It's many factors, and you know as well as I do. Once you leave, that's the deadliest time. Over 80% of people are killed when they leave because remember that person has complete control over them. And when they lose that control, they'll kill them.
Lord have mercy.
Disgusting, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
It is. I'm trying to wrap my head around you saying because they love them. And
Mm,
if
that's some
somebody
toxic
is
love.
punching me in my face and dragging me on the floor and other types of, and like I said, that's just from a physical standpoint. How can I tell myself I love this person? How?
Well, sometimes that generational abuse, if you grow up seeing it, that learned behavior, you think that's how relationships go. Kids develop relationship goals from what they see growing up. So whether they have mom and dad, two mommies, two daddies, grandmother and grandfather raised him, they watch those relationships, and that's how they develop a sense of what relationship looks like, what a healthy and unhealthy relationship looks like.
Okay. So in their minds, somewhere down the line, they saw that hitting and punching a woman was the norm.
Yes. And they normalize it because that's what they've seen.
So tell me something. Would this type of person ever get in a relationship with someone that's not abusive? Or are
They
or
prob-
are there signs that they look for in an individual that might give them some sense of, oh, he might hit me, and that's the norm for me? Or am I
well,
misconstruing?
tell me, ask that question again. Help me
Okay,
understand what you're asking.
okay. I um love the normalcy of physical abuse. So I'm not with anyone right now. Are there some characteristics when I see a man that would lead me to think he might hit me, and that's what I'm drawn to? Or is that
Hmm.
accurate? Because you're saying
Now,
that that's their normalcy. So a regular
yeah.
good man for them would be outside of their normalcy, right?
Yeah, sometimes I hear the people say that he's boring, he doesn't hit me. Now, these are real examples that I hear from serving people who are in abusive relationships. Now, everybody don't think like this, but because they grew up seeing that, they think that okay, if he doesn't hit me, he don't love me. He hits me to get me back in line, to get yeah. I know it doesn't make sense, but for the people who do the work, it really does because we get to see these patterns and these behaviors and help them unlearn those through counseling and support group, extensive therapy. Mm-hmm.
So
No.
how does this abuse affect children? Because you're saying
Ooh.
you're saying this individual has become an individual that succumbs to domestic violence because they saw it as normalcy growing up. So now they
Mm-hmm.
are actually in the household and their kids are seeing this.
The
So
kids are
how
seeing it. Oh my gosh, they're acting out at school. They're being overly aggressive with their friends. They're getting bad grades. They're truant. It's a lot. Um, they're anxious. They're abusive themselves sometimes.
mm,
Yes. Yes, they have psychosomatic pains. Like if the last thing you heard leaving your home was your dad telling your mom, "I'll kill you." So then they have these psychosomatic pains at school. They have stomach aches, headaches,
Oh,
until
really?
mom shows up to check them out. And then when they see mom is okay, alive, then those pains go away. So it's a lot. Kids are very much affected. I think I remember our statistics say over 3 million kids witness abuse a year. 3 million children. And so
What?
you wonder why we have all of the issues in the schools because they can't focus on their education and learning when they're worried about mom's safety. Or they know that they're going home and it's going to be um, a home that's toxic, especially if they're at school and seeing their friends having loving family members come for different events or seeing their teacher love on them. So they're getting the mixed emotions. So, yeah. So they may act out a lot. Yeah.
You know, I'm sitting here thinking, domestic violence. That there's a mindset that individuals possess. I can hear that from just the questions that you've answered. And I'm not going to say I would always look at individuals in this situation and not understand why they don't just leave. I don't care what's
Hmm.
happening. If you got to go to
Yeah.
the shelter, just leave. But I understand that mindset. And I have never really been exposed to physical abuse, except one time when
Hmm.
I was young and
Hmm.
I was married at the time, and my husband slapped me. And
Mm.
the first thing I did was take my shoes off. I'm ready to throw because
Yeah.
I can't believe you just hit me in my face. And that let me know where he was. He never did it again, but where he was. And the physical is only a part of it because we can also have the mind manipulators who are 1,000 times worse, right?
Hmm. You can usually heal from the physical aspect. The scars heal, but the emotional abuse runs so deep. You can look as beautiful as you are and be so broken inside and not feeling worthy enough to be loved, especially a healthy love. And leaving, we talk about leaving. Leaving is not an event, it's a process. Some women stay for 18 years. So they stay because they're waiting on the kids to get old enough to leave for school or, make a way on their own. So it's a process. We do a lot of safety planning with them and prepare them for the leave. So when we have support group on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock, we talk to people who are still in abusive homes, but they're able to get away while they're at work, like for a lunch break to come to our support group. So they have to kind of sneak away to come to support group. Yeah, because if you have that person monitoring you, remember the digital abuse? You have someone monitoring you with the Life 360 or whatever. The phones have different things that track your location, whether you're on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. That's why we tell people to turn your location off because those people who are abusive, they will find you and harm you.
So, what you said when we said, how can family or friends identify that an individual is being
Hmm.
domestically abused? And you said the isolation.
Yeah,
Uh,
and watch the behaviors. Their behaviors change. They begin to make a lot of excuses. Like if they have any bruising that the family will see, they make excuses. I think it's important for family or loved ones or friends, whomever, to first of all believe them. Because I mean, if someone gets the courage enough to speak up, please don't belittle their experience or don't say it didn't happen or minimize the experience because that'll make someone not trust you and not speak up again. and they'll just continue to live in silence. Like you stated earlier, we're the voice for the voiceless. Until they gain their voice and don't need us anymore, but we're in the lives of the survivors we serve, victim survivors, whichever way they want to be called, until they don't need us anymore, or they want us, they don't, they're healthy relationships, or they have gone on in their healing journey where they feel like they don't need our help anymore. But can it always come back? I see some comments coming in.
Mhm. I I can again. There are different mental attitudes that individuals have when it comes to anything, whether it's, domestic abuse, drug addiction, etc. And nobody can understand unless you've been in those shoes. So uh, a, a woman hearing this show about domestic abuse, and
Mhm.
tell me this, Miss Angela, can a woman be getting domestically abused psychologically, emotionally, and physically, and don't believe that that's domestic abuse? Because I
Absolutely.
understand you say normalcy. So I'm trying
Hmm.
to equate, how much has to be done before her mind gets to that point of saying, I'm being domestically abused.
Now, some of it, oh Lord, I lost my thought when you when I. Some of them know that they're in a relationship that something's not right, but they don't know what it's called. Because if that person's telling them, I hit you because, I mean, you were screaming, I had to get you under control. I did that because I love you. Remember, they're playing mind games with them and they're believing it because you want to believe your partner, right?
Yes.
Or they're saying, I did this because you made me do it. And you play those games and you tell somebody that all the time, they'll start to believe, I was being a little sassy. He did have to hit me in my mouth so I can stop sassing him.
Lord have mercy.
No, not healthy. Not healthy at all.
So tell me this. What are the psychological effects of domestic violence on victims? Short
Holy
term
cow.
and long term. And I know
Yes.
some end in death, but
Ooh, some does anything.
what are the short and long term psychological effects?
Well, this is a traumatic experience. And
Mhm.
that DV is a public health issue. So a lot of people say it's not my issue, it's their business. It becomes our business when we're working with these people and their friends, and we're seeing them hurt. So some of the effects of it is depression, hopelessness, suicidal thoughts. Death can be one of them because their partner kills them. PTSD, and they equate the PTSD of someone who's in an abusive relationship to that of a war veteran. So it's pretty deep rooted. Um, what else? Sometimes medical issues, because years or lots of stress causes you to have medical issues, different things in your body, autoimmune deficiencies. It's a lot. Sleep disturbances. You can have dreams, just nightmares all the time. So once
Mm,
you deal with someone or you work with someone like this and you know that they're in a abusive relationship, you'll see some of these things play out when you know what to look for, and
gotcha.
that they're not just acting crazy or whatever you want to call it. That they're
Yeah.
actually afraid to go home.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Our virtual audience, Miss Alanda, stated, I remember going through watching my mom go through it, which have me a complex. That now that I'm married, I have to be careful how I approach things. And I would
Well, thanks
always
for
ask
sharing
my
that,
mom,
Orlando.
yeah. I would She said I would always ask my mom why did she stay with my dad? And she said because of us. She never wanted us to
Mhm.
grow up without our dad.
Without, yeah.
And she said how you deal with the effects it has on a child having to watch the abuse. My sister would suffer with it. Myself, I became angry and would say, got me, if you hit me, I'm going to kill you. And
Mhm.
I think that I have PTSD behind watching my mom go through it. That is
Yes,
that
yes,
is
yes.
awesome statements, Miss Alanda.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
Alanda
And
brought up a point. She said from her experiencing it, watching her mom, she got angry. She got angry
mhm.
while her sister uh stayed quiet. And her mother stayed because she wanted to have a two-parent home for her children.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot too. Um, I thank Alanda for sharing this and for being transparent and vulnerable. I think once you speak it out into the atmosphere, it has no power over you anymore. No one can say, "Hey, she came up in an abusive home." Yeah, she knows she spoke it. So now what? So thank you for your courage in speaking up about it. Sometimes being in households like that, and if you don't get the help that you need, not everyone, you can end up being abusive because that's learned behavior. And you can be abusive to your partner until you get some help. So that anger doesn't just sit, it manifests in different ways. And because sometimes hurt looks like anger, just like grief looks like anger or anxiety. So it's different things that come out of that. And like she said, she probably has some PTSD watching it. Yes, I'm sure she does. Yeah. So it's important to speak to people about that. If you want to see a counselor or a therapist, that don't mean anything's wrong with you. They are equipped to help you through this process of healing. They have given the skill and the mindset and the expertise to help you through this hard time. Because you can't go to family sometimes and talk about it because they may give you wrong information or say, get over it. Well, you have to process it to get over it. You have to go through it to get over it. So thank you, Orlando, for sharing that. Mhm.
And yeah, Landa, I would have loved to know if there were any signs that the family saw. You all were the children in the household, so you saw it point blank. And it
Yeah,
also makes me question, do you threaten the kids and tell them they better not open their mouth?
that could
Is that
happen.
the rule for the house? You better not open your mouth.
Oh, that's family business. You don't talk what's happening in this house outside this house because that's family business. Yeah, I've heard that. But family
So,
business, you being hurt is everybody's business.
for real, for
Mhm,
real.
mhm.
So, how can society in general contribute to preventing domestic violence and supporting the victims? Can society really do something to help me? Because, listen, I'm getting beat up all the time. I'm tired of getting
Yeah.
beat up all the time. I ain't got no job. I ain't got no, everything I've gotten, this man gave it to me. And
Hmm.
if I'm going to get to a place of self sustaining, and I'm not comfortable in shelters or anything else, what can I do?
I think society can. I know this is going to sound cliche. If you see something, say something. So many people stay quiet. They see it. They're like, "That's not my business," and they let it. And they go on. So I mean, you're just as guilty because you see it happening. Now, don't get in the middle because you could get hurt. But you definitely can say something, even anonymous. But if you see something, say something. And also, don't victim blame. If you know that they're walking through this, don't say, you should have done that. What did you do to make this happen? Or if I were you, I would have. You don't know what you would do if you're in that situation because you love that person and you have children with that person sometimes, but you can't say you should have done this or why would you do this? What did you do to make him hit you or her hit you? So you can't say that. But society, I mean, that's the only way to end this. If everyone gets in and say something, it takes all of us working together collectively to hold this person accountable. Because guess what? I'm sick of hearing abuse. Send them to anger management. No, everyone gets angry, but everyone don't fight people. Everyone gets anger. It's an emotion, but to be abusive, that's different than just being angry. So they don't need to go to anger management. They need to go to a batter's intervention program. That's a 26 weeks program that's very extensive to unlearn those horrible, toxic behaviors that sometimes end the lives of those we serve.
Mm, mm, mm. That is heavy. Miss Alanda said, "I love my dad, but I had to forgive him. He asked
Yeah.
me and my sister to forgive him.
What a blessing.
No, my mom would stay home until her swelling went down, so no one
Hmm.
really knew. She
Hmm.
isolated herself.
Yeah.
And as
Yeah.
children, you want your parents together, so you cry and pray that they work it out. So it's like the kids,
Hmm.
Alanda and them, they wanted the same thing that their mother wanted, to come up in a two-parent household.
Yes, but at what
But
cost, though?
it,
At what cost? I'm thankful that her mom is still living or survived that, and they did as well, because sometimes that's not the journey for everyone. We see it on the news. Louisiana is number 5 in the nation for domestic homicides. I think we've had 10 in Caddo Parish already. 10.
what?
Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's very prevalent.
Oh Lord. And what about when, okay, I'm being domestically violent and it shifts over. I'm still getting beat, but it shifts over into daddy getting in baby girl's bed.
Hmm. Yep, that's that sexual abuse. And then sometimes, you hear people say, "Oh, he was a good father. He would never do anything to the kids." Yes, he will. He'll hurt them to hurt you. That's why, when we help them get restraining orders or what have you, and then the court order them visitation with the kids, you have to really think about that. Because when they go to be with dad for the weekend or whatever, however the arrangement is, you best believe dad is asking them, "Who's been over there? Where's mom been?" He's
Mm,
not caring about taking those kids and playing with them and being the father he needs to be. He's asking what's going on with mom, who's she with, where she been. And he will hurt those kids to hurt her.
mm, mm.
It doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in all instances, but it happens a lot. Yeah.
So tell me this, Miss Angela. Domestic violence is an extremely broad term. Um, what is it when the kids go to school and they all marked up and beaten up? Um, I don't know if that's
That's still
so
family
you.
violence.
I'm
That's
stuck so
it's
used to
family
hearing
violence.
domestic
Yeah.
violence with a man and a woman,
Yeah. Yeah, or
whatever.
same sex partners. Domestic violence is between intimate partners. Now, when
Okay,
kids are abused, it's child
child
abuse.
abuse.
But
Okay,
and if they're dating other people, teenagers, it's dating abuse. It's dating violence. So it's still violent. It's just different names.
you just brought up something interesting. And we in generation, I don't know if it's alpha or
Sure.
what, but what is it that is in the mind of a young teenage girl and the teenage boy is constantly knocking her out?
Mhm.
What is it? What is it in her mind that thinks that's okay? Or is it, I just want a boyfriend? I want a boyfriend and I don't want to be by myself. Everybody else
Yeah.
got boyfriends.
Yeah, I think it's a combination because sometimes these kids are coming up in healthy homes and getting in abusive relationships. I mean, but they're not choosing them; their partners are choosing them. So think about it. You hear people say, "Oh, I heard somebody say your picker's broken." What? Like every time you pick a person, they're abusive. Well, that person's studying them and choosing them,
Mm,
right? And then it can happen to the strongest female, the strongest male. That person is watching them. So some people stay in those relationships with, you got a lot of influence from media, from family life. It's a lot of factors. They are always on those computers and phones and they're seeing stuff, but even some of them know that that's not okay. Something's wrong, but or
mhm.
they say, oh, they try to be like the adult women. I can change him. I can make him sweeter. Oh
Lord,
no, you can't. You can't change
you
anyone.
can't change.
You
No,
can't change anyone. No,
no, you
ma'am.
don't have that kind of
You'll
power.
lose your life trying to change someone.
Yes, Lord,
Yes. Yeah.
Lord.
Can't change them. or they
Miss
rescue. They say, okay, he came from a broken home. I'm gonna give him a chance. He got a bad deal. Well, he's about to
Mm-mm.
kill you, so let
Justify,
him go on. Yes,
justify. Miss
yes,
Alana
let him go
said
on.
that her mother is still living. She finally left when my dad hit me in the face. That was her breaking.
Ooh,
As long
that's
as it
always
was
the breaking
her,
point.
it didn't matter. But baby,
When
you
you
put
hurt my
your hands
babies, it's
on
going
mine,
down, Mama. Yeah,
yeah, it's over.
yeah,
Apostle Linda Taylor stated, when we talk about domestic violence, we need to talk about the increase of domestic violence between same-sex violence.
absolutely.
Let's
That happens
let's
more
go
often
there.
than not. Say that
What
again, Miss Doctor.
what is it? What is same-sex abuse? Just off top. What's the
It's
definition?
when it's the same as the coercion and gaining control, power and control, but it's the same sex partners, or it's two males or two females, or two you're transgender female or a so it's just two of the same people. Same sex means male on male, female on female. And they are abused as well. And sometimes they have nowhere to go because society frowns on them in the relationship and they may not get the help that they need. Yeah. So I just say this, regardless of what your biases are, um, you need to treat people well, love on them, and help them. If someone comes my way, I don't care what their sexuality is, I don't care what their religion is. If they need help, I'm going to help them. I don't have to agree with their lifestyle. It's family members I love, and I don't agree with their lifestyle. I'll
Mhm.
help them. You know, so you don't have to agree with their lifestyle to love them as a person, and see that they need to be in a healthy relationship and not be harmed.
Mhm. And I get, it's something. We're on here discussing domestic violence, and then we identified with a child, it's child abuse, and with same sex partners, it's
It's
still
still domestic violence,
violence.
intimate partner violence. Yes.
And what is that violence when a regular person kills someone that's homosexual?
A regular person. What's a regular person? A heterosexual person?
Yes, yes, a
Okay, when
heterosexual,
a heterosexual person
because they
um
hate gay people.
kills someone who is, identifies in the LGBTQ plus community,
Mhm.
that's a hate crime. Like, you hate them because of their sexuality. Well, I mean, you don't have to like it, but why would you hate someone enough to want to kill them? You got to check yourself. There's no justification in that. That's wicked.
So what
No.
happens when the woman get up enough courage because he didn't beat her so bad that she gets to the phone, get 911, police come out? I think the norm is if we see signs of domestic violence, somebody going to jail. So they go lock him up, and he start calling her to get him out. Uh where what is it going through her mind at that time? He's pulling off with the police, going to jail.
Hmm.
What is her mindset right now? I done messed up.
It depends. It could be like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. He's going to kill me when he get out, because he's not going to stay in there long. Somebody's going to bail him out, whether his mom, who co-signs on his behavior, because I mean, that's disgusting as well, or a friend that gets him out, or sometimes she will go get him out. Being under that much control, and it's like you're thinking she's free, leave. Sometimes it doesn't happen like that. She's very afraid that, like, when he get out, he's going to kill me. But sometimes when they, start coming to support group or going to counseling or get the help that they need from another entity, whether it's a family member or friend, and they start believing they deserve better, then they can get a safety plan in place. If he goes to jail, have some stuff packed, have your important papers, have you and your baby's birth certificates, driver's license, have that stuff packed, a change of clothes, important documents. So when you can flee without looking back. But
Gotcha.
they're so fearful. They're so fearful because they know they're going to get out. And it's going to be worse when they get out.
Is
Hmm.
it? Is it
Oh,
worse?
yeah. Yes.
Because he's mad.
Absolutely.
He's
Oh,
mad.
he's mad. He's mad, especially if he had to miss work. Oh, or
Yeah.
somebody heard that he did that, and he could make her call all the friends and say, this really didn't happen. I lied. I was mad at him. So it's a lot that goes on in these relationships behind the scene.
So tell me this, Miss Angela. You know, when we've been seeing, since George Floyd, the murders of African American men, and they're trying to request, and I've even seen big funding with grants for this particular vehicle to be implemented. When somebody is being called for law enforcement to come out and they're mentally challenged, send a mental health expert with the police to talk to these people before they shoot them. In that same regard, can there be someone that comes out when the police is called for domestic violence? Because, like I said, the police is pulling him off in the car. So now I'm sitting here holding my head, saying I'm about to die because he's gonna be out in a few minutes, in a few
Mhm,
hours. And what am
mhm,
I gonna do? If someone was there that had the capacity with resources to tell me we can really help you get out of this if you want to get out of it, they don't
mhm.
have anything like that.
I
That
don't
is.
think they have anybody to go with them per se. Now, the DA's office have a special victims unit, and when they help a lot of the survivors, but we have a shortage of police. Now they're working their butts off trying to rectify that. But we have a shortage of police. Now the police all carry information in their cars to
Mhm.
give to victims of domestic violence. Okay.
Okay.
Um, but I think with those who are mentally ill, I think the families or friends or whoever, caregivers, whoever, they need to have a bracelet on them that talks about their disability. It needs to be in the system. If they ever been arrested, they should go and update the system. Tell them, hey, put in here that this person may behave this way because they're not on their meds. And a lot of people go to the coroner's office and get them PEC'd, or I think that's what it's called, PEC, so they can go and get some medicine in them, stay in the hospital a few days or a few weeks. But it has to be something in place where they know that this person is in a mental crisis. I think when 911 is called, that it should be addressed in that, provisional time so they can know when they go out, this person is in crisis, a mental
And
health crisis.
so tell me this: when he's driving off with the police, going to jail, um, and I've never really experienced anyone personal like that, but he's arrested, and
Mhm,
I know it has to go to the DA to say whether or not they'll be able to substantiate this arrest, um, and bring him through the litigation, and then whatever the sentencing would be, and all of that.
mhm.
When at that time, I lost my train of thought. At that time, when he's being pulled off, and the first thing she's trying to do is find out how to get him out of jail.
Mhm, mhm.
Would that be a plus on her side when it comes to him? Because at least she came and got me out.
Well, she's probably showing him that, see, I do care about you. I didn't want them to take you. But when the police go there and then they have to determine if they're both fighting and they say, she did this to me, he did this to me, they have to determine the primary aggressor. And they do that with defensive wounds. They look at the wounds on each person. So if someone's choking you, you're probably scratching at them to get you off. So if they have scratches on their faces, it's defensive wounds. If you have a black eye and she has something around her neck, that means you were choking her and she was swinging on you to get you off of her. So they have to determine that and not do dual arrest, because when they do dual arrest, they arrest the victim, and then that breaks down all communication. Then they're afraid of the police. So
So why would the
yeah,
victim be arrested?
It doesn't happen often, but sometimes, like if they're called out all the time to a residence for domestic,
Mhm.
some of the police get like so tired of it. But I mean, it's up to the victim to finally get sick and tired of being sick and tired to make a change. But, I hear the frustration, but dual arrest is never okay. It happens less and less, thank God, less and less. Thank God for that. But when they come out and arrest them, then, sometimes the perpetrator is so manipulative when they get out there. The female is all irate and saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe he did this to me." And then he's pretty calm and try to develop a relationship with the officers, like, "Hey, fold his arms or asks about hey, baseball or whatever football game, or hey, she's on that time of the month, you know how they act, you know how hormonal they are," to develop a relationship with that cop so that he can say she's acting hairy, and then they could leave without even arresting anybody. But in the same right, when they see those wounds or see her eye hanging out and he doesn't have a scratch on him, they could pick up the charges. There's nothing you can do when the state or the city pick up the charges. You just have to go with it. And I like when that happens, even though that's a crucial time. I like when that happens because you can't drop the charges because the
Mhm.
state has picked it up to try to protect you.
From our virtual office, from our virtual audience, Apostle Taylor stated hate crime. In some states, they are not able to bail themselves out of jail. They have to stay and
Mm-mm.
appear before the judge. And Miss Alanda
Yes.
stated, what about those women that accept the abuse and then so-called sleep with the man right at like they are really in love? I think that's a sickness. And make so-called love right after they have been beaten.
Well,
When
be careful. Be careful because they sound like victim blaming because these people are
okay,
still afraid of them and they love them. So you can't say, I had someone say, "Oh, she's so stupid." Please don't do that, especially in my presence, because I serve these people and I know, I mean, I've been doing this work for 25 years. I know something. So,
okay,
that person
I
still is
think the
fearful
point
of them and still love them. Mhm.
I think the point she was trying to bring out was there's a time when he didn't just finish beating her and then he want to go have sex.
Yes, he does, because sometimes that's his tactic. It's almost saying, "See, I love you. I love you. I want you. You're desirable." It's mixed emotions here. If Miss Elena said that, I'm sorry, I misconstrued that. But it's mixed emotions here because you're thinking, well, he does love me. I am desirable, but he just beat the snot out of me. So I mean,
Mm,
it's like that cycle of abuse. It's like it's honeymoon phase, acute explosion, and tension building. So it's very toxic. It's
mm,
very toxic, and that's not love. And some people definition of love is pretty tainted. So that way they'll kind of go for the thing that is not love, and they
mm,
go for what's unhealthy because they're not sure what a healthy relationship is. A healthy relationship is built on equality, that I can disagree with you and I don't get my face slapped.
yes, Lord.
You
Mm,
know, we
yes.
can say, "Hey, I don't agree with you," without calling each other names or belittling each other or taking things from me or hurting the kids,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing food is not a privilege, because sometimes people abuse other people with food insecurities, not withholding food from them, withholding sanitary items from them. It's like, it's disgusting the things that we see.
Last question, Miss Angela. Uh,
Okay.
you said that you would set the standard as the woman being abused by the man. What's the statistics and how is it different
Okay.
for the woman beating the man?
No, it
That
happens.
does
We have.
exist, right?
Absolutely. It's statistically 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men will be victims of domestic violence. Now, I think that statistic for the male probably is a little higher. The statistics change every 2 years. Whether
Right.
it's 1 in 7 or 1 in 10 is one too many. So a lot of men don't report because of the stigmas. People laugh at them. They laugh at stuff that's out of the norm or they don't understand. So men don't want to be seen as weak, so they don't report as much as it is happening. But we do serve quite a bit of men. Now they can't stay in a safe house because it's our safe house here is for women and children, but we do put them in hotels and provide them the same services, counseling, support group, um, restraining order if that's the case, because some of the men that leave their abusive partners that are female have custody of their babies. So we're not male bashers like some people think. Oh, yeah, we love healthy relationships. We want to see you with your partner if the relationship is built on equality, so.
Okay, awesome. Well, Miss
Mhm.
Angela, with our last 2 minutes, could you please speak to the virtual world? Let me read this last one from Miss Alanda. Say it was good information. Apostle Taylor, that's right, because that is still sexual abuse. So, with the last 2 minutes, Miss Angela, what would you like to tell the community, as well as your contact information by which they can reach you if they are experiencing domestic violence or they know someone that is
Yes.
experiencing it? It's almost like you can make those anonymous calls to child
Yes.
protection to let folks know that a child is being abused.
Hmm.
It's almost like we need that, where you can
Yeah.
anonymously report somebody beating somebody.
Hmm.
So, how would you like to close out for our audience?
I would like to leave people with the 3 R's: recognize, respond, and refer. Respond is not getting in between. Remember, I said if you see something, say something, and you can do it anonymously. Shreveport has a domestic violence unit, and you
Mm,
can call and give them as much information as you like. Okay.
oh,
Um, And also, if someone you know or you yourself need some help, we have a local domestic violence hotline. Our number is 318-226-5015. And statewide, it's 888-411-1333. And just by chance, if someone's listening to this and they don't live in Louisiana, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 800-799-SAFE, SAFE. And the last part of it is 7233. Safe spells, is the number 7233. So it's important to know that Project Celebration is here to help you if you need it. We're in your lives as long as you want us to be in your lives. We offer all of our services are free and confidential. And we are appointed by the state of Louisiana because we are accredited domestic violence and sexual assault program.
wonderful. Thank you so much, Miss
Yes,
Angela,
ma'am.
for joining
Thank you for
us
having me. Thank you
today.
for all the people who commented and shared
Yes,
your expertise
ma'am.
and your journey. Thank you
We
so much for having me.
we just really appreciate the knowledge that you've shared with us tonight to help our community to understand domestic violence. And that knowledge
Yes,
is
ma'am.
priceless. And thank you
Thank you
so
for
much
caring.
to all of our viewers out there in virtual land. We
Yay.
appreciate you for tuning in. Please help us share our platform by posting our video on your timeline. And we will see you week after next for another great discussion. We will be
Awesome.
talking about human trafficking, y'all. So make
Wow.
it on a calendar because you don't want to miss it. Again, everyone have a lovely evening and thank you, Miss Angela, again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.